Hey guys, I'm Mark from Porsche Sport and welcome to week 34 of the Premier League review. If you are new to this series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table and finish by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd of April 2017. You may notice that there are a lack of games this week. That's because teams are busy with the FA Cup semi-final, so that's Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal and Man City, so their games have been postponed, but nonetheless there are games, so we carry on, and next to their games are the times in this video. So if you want to hear about a specific game, just go to the time next to the match, you skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Bournemouth versus Middlesbrough. It wouldn't take long for one of these teams to open the scoring, because only 2 minutes into the match, Bournemouth took the lead through Joshua King. It came when Mark Pugh had the ball on the wing and he got round his man and drilled the ball into the box, and on the end of it was King, who swept the ball home from close range. And Bournemouth doubled their lead only 10 minutes later. It came when the Borough defenders have a nightmare moment as they failed to clear the ball following a Bournemouth attack, and in came Charlie Daniels, who tackled the Borough defender, and that tackle ended up being a perfect pass to Benik Afobe, who got the ball and finished past Brad Guzan. And things would go from bad to worse for Borough, as in the 20th minute they were reduced to 10 men when Gaston Ramirez got sent off. He already picked up a yellow card when he was booked for diving earlier in the match, and then the 20th minute he went in recklessly on Mark Pugh and the ref showed him the second yellow. Oh, but by the way, Ramirez didn't actually touch Mark Pugh, and all the commentators just seem to have missed that. Didn't touch him. And Bournemouth added their third in the 65th minute through Mark Pugh. It came when Lewis played a great pass to Pugh, who cut inside of his man and then curled the ball into the far corner of the net. And Bournemouth would put the game beyond any doubt 5 minutes later when they got their fourth. At this point it looked like Borough's defence had given up, as a Bournemouth free kick was played short to Charlie Daniels, who skipped around a few defenders before smashing home the shot from about 20 yards out. And that's how the game would end. An absolute shocker from Borough in this match. Their entire team has given up. They all look defeated. I reckon this is the match that has sent Borough down 9 points away from safety. They do have games in hand, but they won't mean anything if they can't score. Sorry Borough, I think the championship is your own next season. And with this result, Middlesbrough stayed in 19th and Bournemouth are 13th. And we move on to Burnley versus Manchester United. Man United took the lead in the 20th minute through Anthony Martial. It actually came from a Burnley attack that United dealt with and then broke quickly. It ended up being 3 against 1, and it ended with Ander Herrera choosing to play it to Martial, who took a touch before sliding the ball past Tom Heaton. And United doubled their lead in the 40th minute through Wayne Rooney. It came when the ball was bouncing around the Burnley box, and it ended with Martial taking a shot that was saved by Heaton, but the ball falls straight back to Wayne Rooney, who struck the ball and it trickled over the line following a deflection. And that's how the game would end. A pretty comfortable win for United in the end, as Burnley just couldn't get anything going. They were attacking, but then the final pass was poor, and that allowed United to clear, and then the rest is history. But with this result, United closed the gap on the top 4 to 1 point in 5th, and Burnley dropped to 16th. And we move on to Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Liverpool took the lead in the 23rd minute when Felipe Coutinho scored a blinder. It came when Liverpool had a free kick from the edge of the D in the box, and up stepped the Brazilian, who got it over the wall and back down into the corner of the net. But Palace would level up the scoring in the 40th minute when Christian Benteke scored against his former club. It came when Johan Cabaye beat the offside trap and he was able to play a ball across the face of goal, and on the end of it was Benteke at the back post to finish. And after this, all through the second half, Liverpool dominated possession, but like all Liverpool games, they couldn't do anything with it, and they ended up conceding when Christian Benteke made it 2-1 to the visitors. And what a terrible goal to concede this is. A corner put into the box, no one gets on the end of it, it travels through about 4 Liverpool shirts, and it fell to Benteke on the edge of the 6-yard box, completely unmarked, and he simply headed home. And that's how the game would end, and this could be vital in Liverpool's hopes for top 4 this season, as this opened the door for both the Manchester sides. Liverpool are still in 3rd, but Manchester City are in 4th, 2 points behind with 2 games in hand. Manchester United are 5th, 3 points behind, also 2 games in hand. And I think Liverpool have just thrown this away. But as for Palace, what a turnaround for Sam Allardyce. They were in the bottom 3 when he joined, and now with their form, they look on point for a mid-table finish. And with this result, like I said, Liverpool stayed in 3rd and Palace jumped up to 12th. And we move on to Swansea versus Stoke. Swansea up the scoring in the 10th minute through their big man Fernando Llorente. It came with a corner was whipped into the box from Gylfi Sigurdsson, and on the end of it with a header was Llorente, who headed into the back of the net for his 12th goal this season. And after this, the game kind of died a bit until the 70th minute when Stoke got the perfect chance to level the game when they got a penalty. It came with Fernandes needlessly fouled Xherdan Shaqiri and the ref pointed to the spot. Up stepped Marco Arnautovic, but he completely skied it and Stoke wasted that chance. And less than a minute later, Swansea would pounce on that opportunity as they went up the other end and doubled the scoring through Tom Carroll. It came when Carroll had the ball about 30 yards out and he for some reason took a shot, but it ended up flying into the top corner thanks to a little deflection off of Joe Allen, and this pretty much wrapped the game up. And that is how the game would end, a must win for Swansea, and they did exactly that. This result ended a bad run for Swansea, as this was their first win in 6 games, and as for Stoke, they continue their horrible away form this year, as they haven't won away from home since January. And with this result, Swansea stayed in 18th, but closed the gap on Hull to 2 points, and Stoke stayed in 11th. And we move on to Hull versus Watford. Hull would have to play most of the match with 10 men when Umar Niasse got himself sent off in the 25th minute. It came when the ball was in front of him and he left a leg out and caught him by Niang on the shin, and the ref showed him a straight red, which is a bit harsh. A yellow at best, and no means a red. And following this, Watford were the better side in the first half, but they couldn't take their chances, and that would go on to cost them as Hull took the lead against the run of play in the 60th minute. It came when Hull soaked up pressure from Watford and then caught them on the counter-attack, and it ended up with Kamil Grosicki crossing the ball for Lazar Markovic, and he finished on the second time of asking. And Hull doubled their lead 10 minutes later when Sam Klukas scored a brilliant goal. It came when the ball was in the air and Sam Klukas calmly chested the ball before smashing the ball into the top corner from about 20 yards out on the volley. And that's how the game would end. A great win for Hull as they played 3 quarters of the game with 10 men, but despite this they soaked up the pressure and then broke Watford down. I'd say Hull probably deserved the win, but Watford should have scored at least 1 in the first half. But in the end, like I said, all those chances missed, they went on to cost them. And with this result, Hull stayed just outside the relegation zone in 17th, and Watford are smack bang in the middle of the table in 10th. And finally, we've got West Ham versus Everton. What can I say? Pretty boring. Looking at the stats, I'd say West Ham probably deserved the win, but Jesus Christ, this was boring. Both teams picked up a point, and with that point, West Ham edged closer to that sacred 40 points mark, but they are still in 14th. And Everton actually hopped above of Arsenal into 6th, but bear this in mind, Arsenal have 3 games in hand over Everton, so I doubt they'll stay there for very long. Right, so that's all I've got for you this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Down with the top 5, and as you can see, Chelsea are still in first. They didn't play this week, neither did second place Tottenham. In fact, these two played each other in the FA Cup, and yet again, Chelsea beat Spurs, so that could do bad things to Spurs mentally. Liverpool are in third, and they did play and they missed a golden chance to secure their top 4, but they lost to Crystal Palace. Man City didn't play this week, but they stayed in 4th, and Man United are 5th following their win at Burnley. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Sunderland are still at the bottom of the table. They didn't play this week. Middlesbrough did, and they lost 4-0 to Bournemouth, so they're in 19th. Swansea are 18th after beating Stoke. Hull are 17th after beating Watford, and Burnley make up the bottom 5 following their loss against Manchester United. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and none of these scored this week because 3/5 of them were busy in the FA Cup. One of them is injured for the rest of the season, and one of them didn't have a shot on target this week. I'll let you figure out which is which, but I'll just rattle through these, alright? Romelu Lukaku is first, he's on 24 goals and 6 assists. Harry Kane is second on 20 goals and 5 assists. Alexis Sanchez is third on 19 goals and 9 assists. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is fourth on 17 goals and 5 assists. And Diego Costa is fifth, also on 17 goals and 5 assists. Right, so that's all I've got for you this time. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back on Friday for the next episode of the Premier League Review. I know the first time I'll have one out on a Friday, but that's because there are games this week, and normally midweek games are Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but this time we have a game on a Thursday, so I've had to readjust. But anyway, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. The link is in the description, or it's at portionofsport_. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, you can. The links to both of those are in the description as well. All my channels should be popping on your screen round about now. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.